As we promised earlier, to talk about a new political party that has been launched in Zimbabwe. Well, we are joined by the new party's president of Zimbabwe African National Congress, Mr. Timothy Mncube, who is joining us via Zoom. Say good afternoon to you and welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much.
Right, so one would say that it was unexpected to hear of a new political party in Zimbabwe. What's the necessity of forming such a party?
As a Zimbabwe African National Congress, we saw it fit to partake in our nation and work with the Zimbabwe stakeholders to transform and build a better Zimbabwe for
all. How do you plan to do that?
We are mainly focused in developing Zimbabwe as a whole by uplifting livelihoods of Zimbabweans. We intend to establish a functional, modern, corruption-free, social democratic government in Zimbabwe. We believe there should be a rule of law and protection of general human and minority rights for all.
Existing opposition parties like the MDC, the MDCT would say, well, we've tried that. We've been there before. Ask us how. So how are you going to do it differently?
New generation politics. We will be uniting all Zimbabweans.
I'm not sure if you are done with your answer. I didn't want to interrupt you there. Were you done?
Yes.
Oh, all right. All right. So now there are several issues that need to be addressed and the plight of Zimbabweans. You talked about uniting all Zimbabweans. At the moment, tell us, how are you going to really thrust this endeavor to bring about unity in South Africa in as far as bringing the people together who are still staunch supporters of ZANU-PF and others supporting the MDC? So when you get into the fray, how are you going to convince people through your new generation politics?
As it is, we are waiting for COVID regulations to be relaxed. Once that is done, we are straight on the ground, speaking with all Zimbabweans in all spheres of the world. Zimbabwe, South Africa mainly. Yes, and we have other members of ZANC in the UK. Once these COVID regulations are relaxed, we are on the ground speaking with the people of Zimbabwe.
When it comes to the economic plight of Zimbabweans, when we have to address issues like poverty levels, unemployment, and many Zimbabweans leaving the country to go look for greener pastures in neighboring countries, what then are you going to do when you come with your influential new politics to talk to them about staying home and working in the development of the Zimbabwean economy?
Well, we envision a united Zimbabwe, free, improved and digitalized education system, and economically transformed Zimbabwe through can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, and I get you. I get your point very clearly, sir. So then, if you are envisioning a united Zimbabwe, but let's talk about bread and butter issues at the moment. I mean, we know Zimbabwe as the bread basket of the SADC region, and it was one of the most successful, economic hubs of Southern Africa. So at the moment, the issue of the economy of Zimbabwe and the political landscape, how would you characterize it in terms of you as a new entrant, and how do you plan to survive? I mean, the likes of Nelson Chamisa, what he went through before the elections, and how the MDC said that it had won the election, but not convincingly so, it's still not in power. So how are you going to then wrestle power from ZANU-PF?
through many projects, empowered for the youth, you know what I'm saying? And technological advanced healthcare system tailored to the needs of the indigent in society. We are focused on developing the country as a whole, if you can get me, and uplifting the lives of the people of Zimbabwe. We intend to establish a functional, modern, multifaceted, poised, vigilant, corruption-free, social democratic Zimbabwe. We are socialist Democrats who believe in that a government must be elected directly by all adults, universal suffrage, through a system of regular, free, and fair elections, and that there must be the rule of law, the protection of general and human minority rights.
So how many members do you have?
We have many members as we speak. We have engaged on the ground, and since we have challenges of COVID, we are using social media platforms. Through those social media platforms, we have received a very overwhelming majority from the peoples of Zimbabwe.
When you say many, how many?
More than 1 million.
All right. Then just on a parting shot, how do you expect the entire Zimbabwean electoral to have a buy-in of the party that you are coming with? And what are your convincing points for them to say that, well, for what we have been voting for, this is like a new broom that sweeps clean and we are going for it? How would you convince them?
Well,
all right, we have.
Remember, Zimbabwe has been divided for too long. So through peace and unity, uniting all Zimbabweans, uniting all the tribes, that will definitely convince them.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for making time to speak to us, and we will get to hear more from you about the activities of your party in Zimbabwe, and all the best. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. God bless you.
That is the leader of the newly launched party in Zimbabwe, the Zimbabwe African National Congress, Mr. Timothy Mncube, who is speaking to us about the newly launched party. He says that they have 1 million members in the party. So we'll keep tabs on the activities of that party and let you know what's happening in that regard.